you ever felt completely paralyzed by fear? Like your body's moving through life, but your soul's just frozen? I know that feeling all too well. 3 years ago, fear ruled every part of my life. But one day, I decided to do something terrifying. I walked straight into the unknown. And that single act of courage changed everything. My name's Alex. I'm from Chicago, and for most of my 20s, I was the guy who played it safe. I took the stable job, lived in the safe neighborhood, dated people I knew wouldn't hurt me. My life was predictable and suffocating. Deep down, I knew I wanted more. To travel, to start my own business, to live boldly. But every time I got close to taking that first step, this voice inside whispered, "What if you fail? What if you lose everything? What if you're not enough?" Fear convinced me that playing small was smart, that safety was success. Until one day, safety turned into a cage. I remember it vividly. It was a rainy Friday. I was on the train home after another soul-numbing day at the office. The guy sitting next to me was sketching something in a notebook. It looked like a map, scribbles, cities, plans. I asked him what he was working on. He smiled and said, "Just planning my next trip. I quit my job last week to travel for a year." That sentence hit me like a punch to the chest. He said it so casually, like it was no big deal. Meanwhile, I couldn't even decide where to order dinner without anxiety. I went home that night and stared at my reflection, realizing that my fear wasn't protecting me. It was controlling me. So I made a promise to myself. I'd do one thing every day that scared me. Just one. That was lesson 1. Fear loses its power when you face it in small doses. The next morning, I started with something simple. I signed up for a public speaking class. I know, it sounds minor, but for me, standing in front of people felt like walking through fire. My hands shook, my voice cracked, and I stumbled through my words. But afterward, something wild happened. No one laughed. No one mocked me. Instead, people clapped. They said, "Hey man, that took guts!" That was the first time I realized something profound. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move despite it. After that, I started stacking small wins. I asked for a raise I'd been avoiding. I booked a solo trip to Colorado, even though the thought of traveling alone made me sweat. I started posting my writing online, even when I was sure people would tear it apart. And yeah, some people did. But here's what I learned next. Fear screams the loudest right before a breakthrough. There was this one hike in Colorado that changed me forever. I decided to climb a trail called Sky Pond. It was steep, rocky, and way out of my comfort zone. About halfway up, I hit a freezing waterfall. The only way forward was to climb through it, literally, through the water. I stood there for 10 minutes debating. My legs were shaking, my mind racing with every reason not to do it. But something inside whispered, "If you stop here, you'll never know how far you could have gone." So I took a deep breath and stepped through. The cold hit like knives. My breath disappeared. But the second I reached the other side, something clicked. My fear had no more hold on me. Because I realized, you can't eliminate fear, you can only outgrow it. When I reached the top of that trail, overlooking the valley below, I started to cry. Not because I was proud, but because I finally understood that fear had been my greatest teacher. It showed me what mattered most. It showed me where I still had room to grow. When I came home, everything changed. I quit my job, I started my own creative studio. I said yes to new experiences, new people, new challenges. And guess what? I was terrified the whole time. But I learned to walk with fear instead of running from it. Because courage doesn't erase fear, it transforms it. Let me break down what I learned so you can apply it too. Name your fear. Don't hide from it. Write it down. When fear has a name, it loses its mystery and its power. Take micro actions. Courage builds like muscle. Start small. A 1% act of bravery compounds over time into unstoppable confidence. Redefine failure. Every failed attempt is a rehearsal for success. The only real failure is quitting before you grow. Visualize your after. Fear lives in the imagination, but so does faith. Picture who you'll be when you walk through the unknown. Walk with fear. Don't wait to be fearless. Walk forward with fear beside you, and you'll realize it was never your enemy. It was your compass. Today, when people ask me how I overcame fear, I tell them the truth. I didn't. I just stopped letting it drive. If you're listening right now and you're standing at the edge of something uncertain, a new job, a move, a relationship, a dream, you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to take the next step. Because sometimes, the most courageous thing you can do is simply begin. Remember this: fear means you're growing. Fear means you care. Fear means you're alive. So walk through it. The unknown isn't darkness, it's discovery. And if this story spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe for more stories like this, and share it with someone who's stuck in their own storm of fear. You never know whose courage you might ignite. Because courage isn't found in comfort, it's found in the step you're afraid to take.